You know we're all going to die one day. We're not leaving this place alive, unless of course you're alive when the rapture happens. Therefore, we all need a will. We need to write a will today if you haven't done so. Hello beautiful people, I'm Legalized Mimi. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, please kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel, like, comment and repost. This page is quite informative. We talk about the law, the reasons you need a lawyer, and general issues of life. Our topic today is will. I know no one would want persons who have not contributed a dime to their existence to benefit from their estate or properties after their death. That is why you need to write a will to properly dispose of your properties to your loved ones, to persons who you intend that they benefit from your estate and properties. What is a will? A will is the expression of a person's wishes which are to take effect after his death, which means that a will is testamentary in nature. It is to take effect after the death of the person who wrote the will, and we refer to this person as a testator. A will is also ambulatory in nature, which means that it can be revoked or altered during the lifetime of the testator, that is the person who made the will. So we have laws that govern will. We have the Wills Act, we have the wills law of the various states of Nigeria, we have the local wills law, we have the high court laws and rules, we have the common law, we have the doctrines of equity. So what are the features and conditions of a will? A will has to be in writing. A will has to be voluntarily made by the testator, by the person who is writing such a will. It must be, he must not be coerced to make such a will. If not, the will will not be valid. A will is testamentary in nature. As I told you, it takes effect after the death of the person who wrote it. And then the testator, the person who wrote the will, must have testamentary capacity. That means he must have attained the requisite age to write a will. That is 18 years for the Wills Act and 21 years for the Wills Law of Lagos State. He must also possess the requisite mental capacity. That means at the time of writing the will, he must know that yes, he is writing a will, he is disposing of his properties to certain persons, that is the beneficiaries. He must also have the requisite mental capacity at the time of execution of the will, that is at the time of signing the will. A will must clearly spell out the beneficiaries. A beneficiary is someone who would benefit from the will. Let me give you an example. I give my Toyota Camry 2018 to Bolanle. Bolanle is the beneficiary. A will must clearly spell out the beneficiaries. It must also clearly designate the properties to be disposed of, that's the properties to be given out. In the example I gave, the Toyota Camry is the property. It must be clearly stated. A will must be properly executed and attested to. Execution is done by the person who made the will, that is the testator. He must sign it. And then attestation is done by the witnesses. The testator must sign the will in the presence of two witnesses. He must sign the will in the presence of two witnesses. His agent may also sign the will, but in the presence of two witnesses, and there must be subsequent acknowledgement, or there are three different ways, or there may be subsequent acknowledgement of the signature in the will. So there must be proper execution, that is signing of the will by the testator in the presence of two witnesses. The witnesses must attest to the execution of the will by the testator. We have different types of wills. We have the statutory wills, we have the non-occupative will, we have the holographic will, privileged will, amongst others. So please engage a lawyer today. You can't write a will without a lawyer. It might seem easy, but little mistakes can render the will invalid and become non-beneficial to your loved ones, and they wouldn't benefit from it. So please don't make the mistakes of writing a will without your lawyer. There are several benefits of writing a will. You get to decide what happens to your estate, that is your properties after your death. If you have little children, you get to decide who their guardians will be. You get to decide your executors, that is those who would round up your estate, the affairs of your estate. You get to prevent significant legal challenges, to prevent and avoid bickering among family members, amongst others. These are just a few among the plethora of benefits that are tied to writing a will. A Muslim can also write a will, but he must write that will subject to Islamic injunctions. Customary law restrictions can also dictate how you write your will or the disposition of your property. For example, in the Bini custom, the Igiobe, that is the place where the testator lived and died, can only be disposed to the eldest surviving son. So you need a lawyer to identify all these challenges, all these restrictions, and write your will properly. You cannot also dispose of a family property or a property jointly owned. It's not your personal property. You can only dispose of your personal property. Therefore, if a property is a family property, you can't dispose of it. You can't give it out. It's a family property. If it's a property jointly owned, you can't give it out. It's jointly owned. So these are certain limitations and restrictions that you need to know about before writing your will. So you need to engage a lawyer today. A blind person can also make a will. However, there must be attached a jurat that the will has been read over to the blind person and he understood same before affixing his thumb or signature, his thumbprint or signature. So these are limitations to it. Then you also have to know that a spouse, that is if you're married, your husband or your wife cannot attest to a will. This is because he's a beneficiary in the will. He cannot attest to it. That means when you write a will and you sign, your spouse, your husband or your wife cannot sign as a witness, cannot attest to it. Then a beneficiary in the will, I gave an example, Bolanle. I give out my Toyota Camry 2018 to Bolanle. Bolanle is a beneficiary in that will. Therefore, she cannot attest as a witness. She cannot sign that will as a witness. However, as I usually tell you, there are exceptions to every general rule in law. That is why you can't do without a lawyer. The benefits of a lawyer in your life cannot be overemphasized. So this is the end of my class today. I hope you've learned something today. So write your will today and of course engage a lawyer while doing that. See you next time.